What if one spider bite could give you superpowers? What if that same bite could destroy everything you love? This is the story of a kid who got everything he ever wanted and lost what mattered most. This is how Peter Parker became Spider-Man. Before the webs, before the mask, before he became New York's greatest hero, Spider-Man was just Peter Parker, a 15-year-old kid living in Queens with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. He wasn't popular, he wasn't strong, he was the kid everyone ignored. But one moment, one bite, one terrible mistake changed everything and taught him a lesson he'd carry for the rest of his life. This is his story. The ordinary kid. Peter Parker's life was normal. Too normal. He walked through the halls of Midtown High completely invisible. While other kids played sports and went to parties, Peter buried himself in science books. He dreamed of becoming a scientist one day, maybe inventing something that would change the world. But high school was brutal. Flash Thompson and his friends made sure of that. They shoved him into lockers, knocked his books out of his hands, called him names. And Peter, he just took it. Because what else could he do? He was small, weak, powerless. The only bright spot in his life was Mary Jane Watson, the girl with the red hair who sat 2 rows ahead in chemistry class. Peter would stare at her, wondering if she even knew his name. Spoiler alert, she didn't. At home, things were different. Uncle Ben and Aunt May loved him like their own son. Uncle Ben always told him the same thing. Peter, you're destined for great things. Never forget who you are. Peter would smile and nod. But inside, he didn't believe it. How could someone like him ever be great? The bite. Then came the field trip that changed everything. Peter's science class visited a research lab studying genetic mutations and radiation. The lab was incredible. Glowing equipment everywhere. Scientists in white coats. Experiments that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Peter was fascinated. While other students took selfies and goofed around, he actually paid attention. He watched the scientists explain how they were using radiation to alter DNA in insects, specifically spiders. That's when it happened. One of the experimental spiders escaped its containment. It crawled across the ceiling, glowing, radioactive, completely unnoticed by everyone, except Peter. The spider dropped, landed on his hand, and bit him. Peter felt a sharp sting. He looked down and saw the spider on his skin. He shook it off, thinking nothing of it. Just a regular spider bite. No big deal. But as the class left, Peter started feeling weird. Really weird. His head pounded. His vision blurred. Sweat poured down his face. By the time he got home, Peter could barely stand. He collapsed into bed, fever burning through his body. Aunt May wanted to call a doctor, but Peter insisted he just needed sleep. That night, his body went through something impossible, something that would change him forever. The transformation. Peter woke up the next morning feeling different. Better than different. Amazing. He looked at himself in the mirror and noticed something strange. He had muscles. Actual muscles. His vision was crystal clear without his glasses. He felt stronger, faster, more alive than ever before. Then things got really weird. Peter reached for his alarm clock and it stuck to his hand, like glue. He tried to pull it off and accidentally crushed it. He stumbled backward and his hand stuck to the wall, then his feet. Before he knew it, Peter was crawling up the wall like a spider. He freaked out, fell off the ceiling, landed on his feet perfectly, and that's when it hit him. The spider bite. It wasn't just a bite, it changed him, gave him abilities he never dreamed possible. Peter spent the next few days testing his new powers. He could lift a car over his head, jump 3 stories high, dodge attacks without even thinking. It was like his body could sense danger before it happened, a sixth sense warning him of threats, and those weren't even his best abilities. Peter was smart, really smart. So he built something incredible, web shooters, mechanical devices worn on his wrists that could shoot synthetic webbing strong enough to hold a truck. Suddenly, Peter Parker wasn't powerless anymore. He was extraordinary. But What would he do with these powers? That's when he saw the poster. A wrestling tournament offering $3,000 to anyone who could last 3 minutes in the ring with champion Crusher Hogan. $3,000. That was enough to buy a car, impress Mary Jane, finally be somebody. Peter made a decision. He'd enter the contest. But not as Peter Parker. He needed a persona, a costume, a name. That's when Spider-Man was born. The fall, Spider-Man destroyed Crusher Hogan in seconds. The crowd went absolutely insane. Peter had never felt anything like it. The cheers, the applause, the respect. For the first time in his life, people noticed him, wanted him, loved him. The prize money was his. TV producers approached him about appearances. Suddenly, Spider-Man was everywhere. Magazines, talk shows, fame and fortune beyond his wildest dreams. Peter thought he had it all figured out. Powers plus fame equals the perfect life. But fame changed him, made him cocky, selfish, arrogant. He forgot about the kid who used to get bullied, forgot about being humble. All he cared about was himself. Then came the moment that haunts him to this day. After a television appearance, Peter was leaving the studio when he heard shouting. A thief had robbed the place and was running toward the elevator. A security guard yelled, "Somebody stop him!" The thief ran right past Peter, right past Spider-Man. Peter could have stopped him easily. One web, one punch, done. But he didn't. The guard looked at him desperately, and Peter just shrugged. "Not my problem," he said. The thief escaped. Peter walked away. He didn't think about it again. Not until 1 week later, when his entire world shattered. Peter came home to find police cars outside his house, lights flashing, Aunt May crying, Uncle Ben was gone. A burglar had broken in. There was a struggle, and Uncle Ben didn't survive. Peter's heart stopped. Uncle Ben, the man who raised him, who believed in him, who told him he was destined for greatness. Gone, just like that. The police said they had the burglar cornered in an old warehouse. Peter didn't think. He just acted. He put on the Spider-Man suit and swung to that warehouse faster than he'd ever moved before. Rage fueled every movement. This criminal was going to pay. Spider-Man crashed through the warehouse window, webbed the burglar, pinned him against the wall, pulled back his fist ready to. And then he saw his face, the burglar's face. It was him, the thief from the television studio, the man Peter let escape, the man he could have stopped. This was his fault. Uncle Ben was dead because of him. The responsibility. Peter fell to his knees. The weight of what he'd done crushed him. If he'd just stopped that thief, if he'd just done the right thing, Uncle Ben would still be alive. The guilt was unbearable. He remembered Uncle Ben's words, the last conversation they had. "Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. You have gifts, special gifts. And what you do with them, that defines who you are." Peter finally understood. Powers weren't about fame or money or proving you're better than everyone else. They were about helping people who couldn't help themselves, about doing the right thing even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. From that moment on, Peter Parker made a promise. Never again would he stand by and do nothing. Never again would he let innocent people suffer when he had the power to save them. He would use his abilities to protect the city, to be the hero Uncle Ben believed he could be. Spider-Man was reborn, not as a celebrity, not as an entertainer, as a protector. New York's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The road wasn't easy. The Daily Bugle newspaper called him a menace. J. Jonah Jameson printed stories painting him as a criminal. People feared him, hunted him. But Peter didn't stop. He fought villains like the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Venom. He saved people from burning buildings, stopped robberies, protected the innocent. And he did it all while still being Peter Parker, still going to school, still struggling to pay rent, still getting his heart broken. Because that's what made him special. Spider-Man wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. He failed. He lost people he loved. But he never gave up, never stopped trying, never forgot the lesson Uncle Ben taught him. So, that's how it happened. How a nerdy kid from Queens became one of the greatest heroes the world has ever known. Spider-Man wasn't born a hero. He was made one through tragedy, through guilt, through learning that power without responsibility is just selfishness. Peter Parker lost his uncle, but he gained a purpose, a mission, a reason to keep fighting even when everything seems hopeless. Because being a hero isn't about the powers you have, it's about the choices you make. And Peter made his choice, to honor Uncle Ben's memory, to protect those who can't protect themselves, to prove that anyone, no matter how ordinary they seem, can be extraordinary. Because in the end, we all have power. Maybe not superpowers, but the power to do good, to help others, to stand up when it matters. And with that power comes great responsibility. That's the amazing origin of Spider-Man.